Hey everybody, it's Brick Waffle again, and today we are going to start moving the ME network, which shouldn't be too bad now. I think I've got most of the stuff upstairs already done. We're going to move that over to New Bricktown, and then we're going to see about replacing all these machines in a smaller configuration. We may or may not move the crystal growth chamber right away. I really don't need a whole lot of more crystals at the current time, but we'll see about that when we get there. So the first thing we have to do is the sad part. We have to take our quantum singularity out and shut down our network. Now that comes back on, but it's not linked to anything, so that won't do any good. Now we can see that we just have only access to the devices that are directly connected, like this APRS chests. We no longer have access to the network that Sonata Block is hosting in his base. But that means we can start taking down the rest of these blocks. And we can start moving that over. Oh, and there was apparently a bunch of stuff for the mob farms going in there, which I should probably go disable. So one thing, I guess this is a pro tip for those of you who would also consider doing this at some point. If you've got a whole bunch of stuff going into your ME network, don't disable it until you've turned those things off. Now there will be a few things that are still able to go in from other farms that are connected to, say, Cicala or Sonata Block space, but this one is going to be a little bit problematic. These ender chests are probably going to be full already as soon as I turn these off, because it's all going into the same relatively small ender chest. Let's do that and see what we've got. Actually, it's not too bad. So let's just go ahead and throw all these things in there. Let's see, all of that. And we didn't throw in anything we need to use. Nope. Oh, that looks okay. Probably. And it looks like our bees are also putting into that same tesseract, in that same ender chest. So we'll just leave that for now. Okay, you can see that I have already moved the capacitor bank over here, and it has been charging off the solar network, so it is back up to full strength, which is excellent. We probably will move this tesseract over. Let's see. Actually, let's go ahead and move one. I've got another one here. So let's move it. Actually, let's leave it right there for now. That's probably okay. We do need to go back and get some more things from the base, so we need our energy acceptors. That's an obvious one. As soon as we have an energy acceptor, then we can start powering our ME network from everything else, and we're going to move our quantum ring relatively close to the capacitor banks there as well. I have a little layout that I've drawn out that I think is going to work, but we may have to adapt that as we go through. Okay, we'll take that capacitor block back. There's our energy acceptor. And let's see, we probably don't need that anymore. And that looks like that can go away. Having a hard time getting out of here, okay. Let's see, we're going to need pattern terminal, interface, cables. We're going to need all of this at some point. And I believe this just goes upstairs to our panel in the house. Yep. So we're going to remove all of that as well. And we are going to replace that with a wireless access at some point. So for now, unfortunately, we're just going to leave a big hole in our house, as we have been doing with most of these. Let's bring that down. And get our dense cable back. And let's see about that bus. There we go. And a moment of truth. And let's make sure that we have all of that. We have 8 quantum ring pieces. And where's our quantum link chamber? Am I missing it? There it is. Perfect. Good. So that all worked. Should have gotten all of our buses, storage bus, import bus, and crafting terminals. Great. Let's not break the APRS chest that way. Let's go ahead and get a dolly for that in just a moment. And I believe that these item conduits, yeah, that's all going to go away. Conduit facade. Okay, so that's all connecting to these other chests over here. So we'll break that here, but we're not going to go all the way across because that's going to be part of our moving of the mechanism machinery. So that probably will not be this video. That's probably good enough for now. Okay, let's take out these last few things, and before I do that, let's see, that's going to be filled with water unless I put something in there first, so let's go ahead and do that. There we go. And we've got our patterns as well. We are running low on space. And now we don't have a network to throw things into. So let's, well, we do have some of our other bags. Let's see, we can put our inscriber patterns in here for now. That should save us enough space. And we'll throw one of our chests in there with the item filter and the advanced item collector. That should be fine for now. Let's get these guys, and then their associated cabling. And that should be everything we need to move that network up. So there are some other things in here that we're using ME network, but I believe most of it was being piped into the same ender chest, and then that ender chest was acting as our connection to everything else, so that should be everything we need. So let's come on out of here and head over to where we're going to place this all down. So one thing I have not tried yet, and we're about to find out if this works or not, is having a tesseract go right into an energy acceptor. So if we place that down, and we place that down, is that sufficient for power, or are we going to need another cable to connect into it? We'll find that out here shortly. We do want to put the quantum ring network down, though, like this. And actually, that's probably not the best place for that energy acceptor, because it's going to be one of the corner nodes, and that means it's not going to be able to go into there. So we're probably going to want to switch that and the tesseract. And actually, we don't need that cable for the tesseract. So that's actually good. That means we can reuse that. Let's put that down. Yep, there you go. And the other question is, can we set this capacitor bank to output directly into the energy acceptor? It looks like we can put that to output. And if that works, that would be really, really nice. So I think that's the one we just used. Let's place that back down. And he should be coming in from, let's see, he should be able to send and receive. That's fine. Everything else is blocked, and he'll do it with no redstone signal. And it looks like that worked. We have power. Fantastic. That's going to make this really compact. So then that means we are back online, and we should be able to put our terminals on the edge of this. So we're going to use our pattern terminal and our interface terminal on this. Pattern terminal. Oh, yeah. That's not going to work. We do need to have that on cable, not directly on the device, or it's going to try and snap to the device. So let's use some of our smart cable here. And we should be able to put that right here. And that will give us space for all of the things we need. So, interface terminal can go at the top. And where is our pattern terminal? That can go down here. Put that down here. And are we connected? Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh, you know what? Where's my wrench before I break that? There we go. Oh, you know what? That's not going to do anything until we put our singularity back in there. And now we have access to the network again. Terrific. So let's see, what's next? Now that we have that up, we do need to put back in our ender chest that can feed into this. And that means we're going to need an import bus that goes into here. We are going to put a crafting interface on here for now. I know technically we don't need one because we have the pattern interface here, but I do like to leave this usually with blank patterns in it, which oh, they're on me. Perfect. If we decide we need that channel back, that's fine, but coming off of this network, 3 channels is probably not a big deal. We can always reclaim that later. But we are going to need some way to input items into here, and let's do that off of this guy. And which one of these is our import bus? There we go. And we probably want our storage bus down here next to our APRS chest, which we need to go get with a dolly. So I'm going to go back and sleep and make it daytime and grab that chest, and I'll be back in just a moment. Alright, so I have a dolly, and unfortunately it does not want to work with APRS chest. Even if I'm sneaking, nothing happens. If I click it, it just tries to open up. I am very certain that if I break this chest, it's just going to scatter bees everywhere. So we're going to leave that alone for now, and we will move that when we have a little bit more inventory space. So let's see. In the short term, we will just put this dolly in our bags and go back to what we were doing. That's unfortunate, but not every mod is compatible with every other mod, so we will do that a little bit later. It's not that we need those bees right this moment. It's not critical. We can go ahead and do the rest of this for now. So we can still put the storage bus on here where we know we're going to put that APRS chest in a little while. That should go right underneath here. Let's see if we can. It's probably going to require us to break a block here. See if we can get a perspective on that. There we go. Whoa. That's, yeah, that looks right. Okay. So we'll put that there. Then we are going to need one of these chests as an input chest. That's our import bus. And I believe that we had some speed upgrades on here. Yep, looks like we have those 4. So that should be able to take everything we need for the network. So let's throw some... Whoops, that's going to filter it. We don't want that. Let's throw those grass blocks in there. And they're on the network. Excellent. So that part is working very well. We also need to have a few other things going on. So we want to use our other tesseract. And this is a little bit wasteful, but we can do this. We can have this tesseract put into this chest. In fact, what we probably want to do is put that up here so we can use an item pipe into it. And let's make sure that this guy is set to ignored, and he is going to send only items, and he's going to be blocked on everything else. So that's going to be any way we want to send items from our other areas through the tesseract. Always active, into our network, insert. So now, if we go back and we turn on our mob farms, we should see everything working again, because I believe those are all going... Oh, nope, those are going through ender chests and not through the tesseract. So we need to go ahead and put our ender chest here as well. And there he is. So let's put that right at the front here. We're making this pretty compact. So that's going to be that ender chest, and this is on always active, and now those things should go into the network. Yep, looks like they are. We could definitely use some speed upgrades on that, which we have these. And there is a little bit of a bug with this user interface. You can't see some of those things, but they do work. And now that's all going into the network very quickly, or at least into that chest, and then into the network. So let's go ahead and turn our farms back on, and we will continue to get absurd rates of drops from these 4 farms. One thing you may have noticed from that drop is that since the last time I recorded, we have replaced the skeleton farm with an imp farm. If anybody ever decides to do witchery on our network, that will be pretty helpful. But in the short term, it's a very good way to get leather. We thought about doing a cow farm as well, but because Sakala's doing... Well, there's kind of embarrassing. I can never get out of that. Because Sakala's doing a lot of the Pam's Harvest Craft stuff, we don't really need just basic food. She's enjoying making all sorts of things for us. In fact, one of the best things about this mod, we can get maple syrup waffles. That is the perfect food, so we are very happy to have that. Alright, we've got our storage network going back in. Everything seems to be connected. We can put our apiarist chest here, and this is going to be one little compact ME network. I am going to leave some space here at some point. I'm probably going to put a separate ME controller in and some crafting arrays so that we can use these as dedicated subnets and do automatic crafting. So for now, that's all we needed to do here. We do have one more ME crafting terminal, but the next thing I'm going to do is start to break down a little bit of the other machinery and look at wireless access, because what we don't want to do is run a cable all the way up to that base. We want to put a wireless access point here and be able to access these crafting terminals at the very least from the house. So I will get back to you as soon as I figure out how to do that. Okay, so I did a little bit of looking, and it looks like the wireless access points are not what I thought they were. They simply allow you to access this machine from anywhere, and it uses power based on how far away you are. That is nice, is very convenient, but it does not allow us to simply mount a crafting terminal up in the house without running cable. So I'm going to do a little bit of reading on how to do that the most efficient way. I'm not going to do that in this episode. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to go back up to the base, and we're going to start moving the rest of our machinery down here. So we do have one thing hanging out here on the side, the Botania book. We're going to just take that off of there, and then we're going to knock that guy off. And we're going to put both of those things in the network. We're not doing Botania much anymore. We've got our mana pool, and we don't have a network in here anymore. So we can use our ender pouch, though. And that is going into the ender chest that's going into the network. So let's go ahead and do that. We could put our crystal growth accelerators back down, but I think what we're going to do is just throw those in the network as well. And we are going to throw some cable facade in there, and our sign, and our extra capacitor block, and even our conduit facade for now, and that one. So that should be okay. We're going to keep all the rest of this stuff, at least in the short term. We're going to keep our dimensional anchor because we're going to want to put that down over by our ME terminal. And in fact, what we might end up doing is replacing the, I think we have 2 dimensional anchors. This would be a third one. We might move that to a central location in town and just make sure we cover the whole town with one of those. It's probably more efficient, probably a little easier on the server. So let's see, what do we have left down here? We have the apiarist chest we're not going to deal with just yet. We have the mechanism factory stuff. We do have these 2 boxes we can easily take with us, as well as this ender furnace, which probably has... Oh, good, it has no fuel. That's going to make this easy. And then we're going to have all of this machinery, but we can certainly tell little brick to follow us, and we can take the rest of this stuff with us as well. And I believe, yeah, that's conduit facade. So that was all connected to power. We can do that again here shortly. So the machine shop was the last place we wanted to go over to, and let's go ahead. Man, the sun is already setting again. You can tell how long I was looking at that other wiki. Let's see. This last place, if I can get my notes here of what I wanted to do. I believe that I was going to have everything coming in from a tesseract, and then going into some machinery. We haven't really figured out where we're going to put the flans mod stuff yet, so, oh good, it looks like our flowered vines are growing. I'm going to go ahead and put those over here by the smeltery, and let's just go ahead and stick them in this corner for now, over by the trash can. A couple over the blocks we didn't know what to do with yet. We're going to find a better place for those soon. You can see that I did, in fact, set up. I moved all the enchanting stuff over here, so that looks really nice now. And then inside this room, we moved our liquid XP storage and our auto brewer, so that's all good. Let's go ahead and turn on night vision. It'll make this a little bit easier. I don't really know exactly where all this stuff's going to go yet, so for the short term I'm just going to stick a few things down here, and we can organize it later when we have it all in this area. Let's go ahead and put this dimensional anchor down in the short term over here. Where are we going to put you? Let's put you down right there. Whoops. Right there. And we're just going to leave him as 1 by 1 for now. That'll just keep our ME network loaded wherever we are. And what else do we need to bring? Oh, we have all that mechanism machinery, so we can bring over some of that as well. So we've got our compressor, our infuser, our crusher, our enrichment chamber, and our charge pad. Let's just stick these over here for now. We are going to need to leave some space for, this is going to be an exterior wall, and then a block, and then maybe an item pipe, so let's start with this spot. And it doesn't really matter what order those go in. That's probably okay for the time being. This guy's definitely not going to stay here, but I'm not going to worry about him till the very end. Actually, in fact, let's just put him all in the bags. And then we've got our sawmill for mariculture, which we can use to make some custom blocks. We're going to stick him down on this same hallway. And we might run some piping under the floor to power all these, so that should be okay. Let's go ahead and put in those plans again. That looks pretty good. Let's see, we've got 5 power cord, well, let's see, 5 energy conduit from Ender IO. Yep, enhanced energy conduit. So that would be enough just to cover all of these things and not quite to get to that edge. So we are going to have to move some of that power back. And we've got some hyperkinetic upgrades. I believe those were in the mariculture mod. Yep. And I don't think any of this was actually hooked up to individual pipes. These were meant as kind of one-off machines that we could use for a small set of crafting. It wasn't kind of anything automated. So let's go ahead and just knock this out. And let's take out all of you. And that is going to make this a little bit harder. Whoa, I did not know you could go through a charge pad like that. But not back up. Oh, yes you can. That was a little weird. Alright, so let's put this dirt back in here, and let's put some cables under all of this. That doesn't need power, does it? Block work unless given a signal? Yeah, I don't think that does. Each side slot needs to have a block in it. Okay, yep, so I think we're good. So that should be all of these guys connected. Let's just take a quick look down here. Yep, I don't think we need to put this on input as long as we have an output at the other end. And that guy can have his basalt back. And we're going to leave that alone for just a moment until we get our energy source over here. What we will probably do is have one tesseract that's powering this entire room, which means we're going to need a lot more of these energy conduits over on the other side as well. So let's go ahead and get back to the base and move some more of the machinery over. So once we have everything down, we will probably play around with moving some things back and forth. I'm going to go ahead and skip here ahead. I don't think you guys need to watch me break the machines and move and replace them, and I will get back to you when we have everything replaced. Okay, so you can see that we've moved all of our machinery down here. So we've got our electrolytic separator with our water supply producing hydrogen and oxygen for our factory system. So this is our 3x ore processing, and now that goes into an ender chest. We've also added the same adjustable chest that's producing infinite cobble, going through the sag mill to produce sand and occasionally gravel, also going into the same ender chest. We now have our ender furnace set up over here, which we can set back to fast mode, so if we need to just cook regular things, we can get that pretty quickly. We have our magma crucible, which we can put a portable tank over here when we need to fill things up, based on melting them in there. And then we have our induction smelter, alloy smelter, another sag mill that's not dedicated to sand and gravel, and a pulverizer, and all of these are also connected through ender item conduit into this same ender chest. And then over here, these devices are just connected through power line that runs under the floor, as we set up a few minutes ago. The last thing we've added is the fluid transposer. We have set this so that we have a red output here and a yellow output here, so that when we toggle between them, we can fill to the right or we can empty from the left. So that's everything we needed for the machine shop. We also did move, or I moved the apiarist chests over here, and the way I did that was I just put down a diamond chest with an item collector and then broke this. All the bees went in there, I moved the chest, then put the bees back in. Pretty straightforward stuff. So the next thing we want to do is figure out how we want to design these buildings. We want to actually build some kind of structure here rather than just a flat wall. And then we also are going to run some cable up to our base. So let's see what we need to do to make a bunch more smart cable. And actually we don't even need cable, because the only thing we're going to be doing is running a single crafting terminal. We could just use regular glass cable. That would be just fine off of this. So let's see, how much of that do we have? We don't have much of any of these kind of cables already made. Let's see. We have 2 regular glass cable. Let's do this. Glass cable. We just need some glass cable fluix and and white dye. Glass cable fluix, we need a bunch of crystals, or glass cable fluix and water. I don't understand that recipe. But if we get some quartz fiber, some fluix crystals, and some pure fluix crystals, we can get enough of that. Like I said, we can tell from the map that we are about 107 meters. That's as the crow flies, so we're probably going to need quite a bit more than that, maybe 1.5 times that, and then we have to go up through there. Now let's call that 200. Yeah, we're going to need somewhere over 200 glass cable or fluix cable to get up to the house from here. So that's going to be a little bit, but we do have some of those crystals. So let's see, we've actually got quite a bit of that. Pure nether quartz is a little low, but we do have some other nether quartz. So let's try that again. Fluix cable. How much of that can we make right now? Well, that's not too bad. And that gives us 128 and 14. That's not too bad at all. So it looks like the thing we're missing here for the fluix cable, glass cable fluix, we need more quartz fibers, and that means we need to grind up some Certus quartz and nether quartz. And actually we've got some of that already made. Not much though. We need edged glass. Or does it take any kind of glass? Let's check that one more time. Looks like it takes any kind of glass. So that's the next thing we're going to do, is smelt up a bunch of glass. I've got that ender furnace, and we've got plenty of sand over here. So let's just go ahead and throw all of that in here for now. And we'll go over to the ender. Oops, we're going to need some fuel for that as well. So let's get some blaze rods, since we've got a couple of those. And we will get this thing started up. So let's see, we want blaze rods in the bottom, sand in the top, and then we're just going to throw some more of both of those in here. And that should work just fine, actually. Let's go ahead and grab one of those stacks of blaze rods and throw that in the hopper. And that should keep everything going through. So it will use up more blaze rods, go into here. This buffers up, I think, 1,000 items. So that should be plenty for now. We'll come back in just a little bit, and I will give you a progress update then. 191 cables. But we do have our crafting terminal back here, and you can see it's purple because we've run fluix cable again. We do have a lot of cleanup to do in the base. I'll take a quick tour down there real quick, show you what we have to do. We're actually going to fill in a lot of what we've already excavated, reclaim a lot of lights, but you can see that cable runs right through the middle of what was once our basement. We do have a lot of room down here that we've kind of taken everything out. We've got to fill this all in with some stone again, take out these elevators, and then we're basically done. So the only other thing I want to do is I'm going to put another portal in this room that's a permanent connection over to the village so that I can easily get back and forth. That's probably not going to be this episode. I'm going to make sure I have all the mats ready to go ahead and build those. And I will probably also spend a little time building the structures around these two devices. But yeah, you can see that we basically ran cables straight down here, down to level 50, all the way over there in a straight line, then turned 90 degrees all the way over to the house, then straight up, and that, like I said, was 191 cables. So thank goodness we can make a lot of glass in the furnace pretty easily, and we can make a lot of Certus quartz crystals and dust, And I know I did say I probably wouldn't put down that crystal growth accelerator, but now I'm running a little low on Fluix crystals, so I probably will have to put that down. But for now, that's all we're going to do, so if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like. If you really liked it, then please subscribe. And as always, I've been Brickwaffle. Thank you for watching.